lunar love tryst. This new moon is coming home in Cancer to the first decan, which is also ruled by the moon. So we'll be doubling down on how we are feeling. It's a fertile energy, perfect for the time of midsummer. The symbol of the crab even looks similar to the shape of a womb, as the masculine sun rays enter and bring new sparks of life. A retrospective tidal wave pulls us backwards. A few hours before the new moon on the 28th, Neptune stations to go retrograde as it reverses direction, pulling the watery, dreamy energy backwards in much the same way as is reflected in the nature of a tsunami. As the ocean prepares its power, pulling back the waters towards the epicenter of the trauma, it gathers everything back with its powerful reversed energy before rushing forwards towards the land as a giant wall of water. We may likely experience the collective consciousness, attention getting sucked backwards in time, deep into the past for us to dredge up and collect any information that has been submerged in the murky depths of fantasy, illusion, delusion, and make-believe for a long, long time. As we get pulled back along timelines in reverse, spiralling like Alice falling down the rabbit hole, further and further we go, getting drawn back to a place in time and space where we will review the origins of something significant. This collective oceanic retrospective flashback is happening alongside the watery Cancerian new moon energies, emphasising our nostalgic reassessment of the past in both our personal memories and shared history. Also on this 7th degree in Cancer is the fixed star Mersam at the front paw of the dog Canis Major. This star is said to be common in the charts of broadcasters, as it's called the announcer star, which further emphasises the media influence, as we mentioned earlier. It really feels like the news may actually report something genuinely new and never before broadcast. That's going to be interesting. Some massive news story or novel narrative is probably going to be all over the airwaves, like a tsunami, flooding all the channels simultaneously. Something with a look to the past, something that the stirring Neptunian pullback of the giant wave lifts up, like lifting the corner of a magic carpet to reveal all manner of secrets that were brushed under it. All the titanic things that have been sunk to sleep with the fishes will float up to the surface for us to realise that deeply held beliefs about things may have been completely manufactured. Secrets, seductions and lies. On a more local scale, you may get pulled back to revisit old relationships as your heartstrings get plucked, serenading you back into a nostalgic trance. This would be a great time to heal any early learned programming, childhood trauma or ancestral wounding. Anything that caused a limiting change within your psyche could be revisited during this time, so you can bring up what lies beneath and take a good look at it with an older and wiser perspective. Then send that energetic data back down the line with all the love and compassion this nurturing Cancer energy will give you. It's a powerful time. Use it well. As well as the Sun being happy at home in the sky, we'll also experience Saturn, Neptune, Mars and Mercury in their home signs too, emphasising their own energy as they can draw upon their own home resources. As well as the Moon, Lilith and Ceres joins the Sun at the place of germination and nurturing. New beginnings indeed, with new concepts being conceived around the things we care deeply about, the things that we love, especially when we come together and blend the opposing polarities of each other, us and them, you or me, this and that. This merging together is highlighted even further with the associated tarot card for this decan, which is the Two of Cups. It's likened to the Lover's card and is known as the Lord of Love. With love, we blend the contents of each cup, our emotional waters together, creating a unique cocktail spirit that emanates from the mutual mixing. Something new begins to take shape that has elements of both, but is independent in its own right, and something that neither polarity could bring about on its own. It takes a union of both. This then brings about the change that cardinal points of the zodiac indicate. The cardinal being the doorway that was previously invisible, secret and locked, now has the key to open it and reveal something completely novel that could not have been conceived of before. It takes two, which, if you consider this concept and approach all the oppositions and conflicts in your life and world in this way, it has the potential of being quite magical. We can look at conflict then as potential as the initiating catalyst towards creating something we never even knew was possible. Once we dissolve our irrational defensiveness and allow compassion to see what seed is nestling in the liminal space in between the opposing ideations, this is Mother Nature's laws that we're all a part of in this universe, deeply alchemical and abundantly fertile. In the Yavana Jataka, I'm not sure I pronounced that correctly, which is an ancient astrological text translated from Greek to Sanskrit, this part of Cancer shows a woman pale and fair, whose words are beautiful and full of grace. Her gown is pale like moonbeams, and she holds a blossoming lotus in her hand as she stands in the water, pining with love. She wears a golden girdle adorned with the splendour of many necklaces. As she leans on a branch of a tree, she recalls to her mind her beloved, and her necklaces tremble on her breast. That description aligns with both Agrippa and Bruno's version of the Cancer first decan, having Venus as the ruler rather than the moon. Agrippa writes, "In the first face of Cancer ascendeth the form of a young virgin, adorned with fine clothes, and having a crown on her head. It gives acuteness of senses, subtlety of wit, and the love of men." Whereas Bruno writes, "In the first face of Cancer is a crowned woman who is luxuriously dressed. She's holding an olive branch in her right hand and a drinking cup in her left hand." These descriptions bring to my mind the slow motion action of a water droplet into a calm pool. At first it creates a dimpled well, then a peak emerges upwards from the shape of a crown, with a single orb hovering above. It glistens like sparkling crown jewels before sinking down again and merging into the main body of water, which could be visualised as a crowned virgin queen, which appears to be what many of the ancient texts seem to be implying. Venus also being associated to Aphrodite, the goddess of love, as she emerges like a pearl from a shell, rising up from the ocean, pure and true, telling us nothing beats the beauty of authenticity. In the Picatrix, the Two of Cups is depicted as a man having twisted and crooked fingers and head, and his body is like the body of a horse, having white feet, and upon his body fig leaves. And this is a face of teaching, knowledge, of love, subtlety, and of skills. Now that description, in combination with the water sign of Cancer, is evoking the idea of a seahorse to me, which resembles the hippocampus of the brain, that part that consolidates short-term and long-term memories, so that we learn and we can replicate what we learned to become skillful. That seems fitting, especially as Cancer is related to history and memory. The half-man, half-horse image is like a Sagittarius symbol, who can also be a teacher guru, learning from what has gone before as he turns back to shoot his arrow, collecting and linking data to send up to the pineal. The hippocampus, half-horse, half-sea monster, forms, stores and organises memory and the associated sensations and emotions associated with those memories. But this is very appropriate, as our emotional narratives become memories, which when powerful and environmentally significant or traumatic enough, become epigenetic stories that change our DNA by switching on and off specific gene markers. I have wondered about this with the recent pandemic. Another feature in the Two of Cups card is the helix structure, rising above the couple as they clink their cups together with a chair. So not only do these opposite mergers create new things, they can also trigger healing and potentially new DNA configurations. The caduceus, as we all know, is related to the healing arts, because true healing is an art. With the right and the left sides of the brain combining logic and imagination with emotion and absolute belief, has the most magically transforming potential.